There is a frequency some women carry that cannot be named, cannot be taught, and is rarely recognized in a world that fears what it cannot control. You feel it not through attention or performance, but in the subtle way a room shifts when you enter. Nothing dramatic happens, no one can quite explain it, yet something stirs, something unsettles the sleep of those still dreaming. This frequency does not come from positive thinking or spiritual aesthetics. It comes from depth, from integration, from the long and often painful marriage between shadow and light within the psyche. It is not about being better, purer, or more evolved. It is about being undeniably real in a landscape built on illusion. And that kind of reality has a way of disturbing people. What you are about to recognize are 3 signs that appear only in women who have walked through the fire of their own becoming and emerged changed in ways the collective does not quite know how to receive. These signs do not make you popular. They do not make you easily understood. In fact, they often do the opposite. They mark a psychic structure so aligned with truth that it becomes a mirror for everything unhealed around you. And perhaps the most unsettling realization is this: you may already carry all 3 and still wonder why you feel so alone. This is not a guide to becoming high vibrational. It is a recognition of what already lives in you, unnamed and largely unwitnessed. By the end of this exploration, you may understand why your silence unsettles people, why your solitude feels like power, and why you have stopped trying to save anyone, including yourself. We begin where most people are afraid to look, with chosen solitude. When the process of individuation is described, it points to a journey of separating your essence from the roles assigned to you, the identities projected onto you, and the expectations that quietly suffocate your true nature. For women, this process carries particular weight. You are conditioned to be connective tissue in the lives of others, to hold space, to nurture, to remain accessible, soft, and endlessly available. The woman of high vibration does something that feels almost violent in its simplicity. She stops explaining herself to those determined to misunderstand her. She stops justifying her boundaries to people who interpret self-preservation as selfishness. She stops performing the role of the endlessly patient listener, the emotional sanctuary for those unwilling to do their own inner work. This is not cruelty, this is the first sign. She chooses solitude as a portal back to herself. There is a profound difference between isolation born of wounding and solitude chosen from sovereignty. The wounded isolate because connection feels dangerous. The high vibrational woman withdraws because she has learned to distinguish between relationships that nourish her essence and those that quietly drain it. She feels no obligation to explain this discernment. She does not announce her departure. She simply leaves spaces that require her to shrink. And in that quiet leaving, she reclaims something sacred. When your circle grows smaller, when old friendships feel hollow, when familiar gatherings exhaust you not from conflict but from pretense, this is not a failure of connection. It is the shedding of false belonging. And in that shedding, you may discover something unsettling and liberating at once. You are more yourself in solitude than you ever were in crowds that demanded you betray your knowing. This is where the path truly begins. Chosen solitude carries a paradox. From the outside, it is rarely interpreted as sovereignty. The world often reads your withdrawal as arrogance, coldness, or rejection. People who have never questioned their own participation in unhealthy dynamics will accuse you of being difficult, distant, or changed, as if growth itself were a personal offense against their stagnation. And this is where the second sign reveals itself. The silence that disturbs. Silence here is not the absence of voice. It is the presence of a self so integrated that words become optional. The woman who has faced her own darkness, who has chosen consciousness over comfort, no longer feels compelled to explain herself to those who lack the capacity to hear her. She does not defend her choices to people still imprisoned by the opinions of others. Her silence is not withholding. It is fullness, and that fullness is deeply unsettling. In the space where she refuses to fill the air with reassurance, justification, or performance, others are forced to confront their own internal noise. Her calm presence becomes a mirror. Without saying a word, she reflects back the chaos, insecurity, envy, and unprocessed emotion others carry within themselves. This is why she is called cold when she is simply clear, why she is labeled distant when she is merely boundaried, why she is accused of superiority when she has simply stopped performing inferiority to make others comfortable. She does not bond through shared complaints. She does not create closeness through gossip, judgment, or collective victimhood. She will not use words to manipulate, to soothe egos, or to secure her place in a social hierarchy she never agreed to participate in. Instead, she listens, she observes, she allows what is real to emerge without forcing it. In a culture addicted to noise, distraction, and constant chatter, this kind of silence feels like an accusation. It exposes the emptiness of conversations that go nowhere, the performative nature of most social interaction, and the desperate hunger for validation that drives so much human behavior. She does not intend this exposure. It happens naturally because she has stepped out of the unspoken agreement to avoid truth. In group settings, this becomes especially pronounced. While others rush to fill silence with jokes, small talk, or deflection, she remains still, not withdrawn, not disengaged, simply present in a way that requires nothing from anyone. This quality of presence is so rare that it reads as threatening, because if she can exist without constant affirmation, what does that say about everyone else's dependence on it? Her refusal to compete for attention, for approval, for status, marks her as other. Not because she judges those who still play these games, but because she no longer finds meaning in rules she never consented to. She has accessed something the culture does not want women to find, her own authority, and this brings us quietly and inevitably to the third sign. The third sign of high vibrational women is perhaps the most liberating and the most lonely: the refusal to save or be saved. For many women, love has been unconsciously shaped around rescue. Being needed becomes proof of worth. Carrying the emotional weight of others is mistaken for compassion. Enduring imbalance is reframed as loyalty. This pattern weaves itself through families, partnerships, friendships, and even spiritual communities, quietly binding women to roles that keep them small while calling it virtue. The woman of high vibration steps out of this cycle entirely. She no longer sees herself as responsible for the emotional evolution of others, not because she lacks empathy, but because she understands something most people never confront. True compassion does not mean doing another person's inner work for them. She will not save a partner from his darkness. She will not rescue others from the consequences of choices they refuse to examine. She will not carry grief, rage, or unprocessed pain that does not belong to her. This is not detachment, it is psychological maturity. Just as importantly, she no longer waits to be saved. She does not seek permission to exist fully. She does not look for a teacher, lover, or authority figure to finally recognize her worth and reflect it back to her. She has integrated both receptivity and assertion within herself. She becomes her own witness, her own ground, her own source of validation. This does not make her invulnerable, it makes her honest. She knows when she needs support and asks without collapsing into helplessness. She offers care without becoming entangled. She allows herself to be supported without becoming dependent. She stands in the truth of each moment without manipulating others into caretaking or performing hyper-independence to prove she needs no one. The world finds this unsettling, because when a woman can step back without bitterness, when she can watch someone she loves make destructive choices without intervening, when she can hold space for suffering without trying to fix it, the unspoken contracts that bind most relationships begin to dissolve. The contract that says love means sacrifice. The contract that says caring means control. The contract that says, If you truly loved me, you would prevent my pain. She breaks these contracts not through rebellion, but through embodied knowing. People leave her life, some in anger, frustrated that she will not engage in drama. Some quietly, unable to tolerate the accountability her presence invites. Some return years later, changed, finally able to meet her where she stands. She allows all of it. She does not chase. She does not punish. She does not cling. And yet this path is not free of shadow. There is a subtle temptation towards spiritual arrogance, the belief that she has transcended what still binds others. This is the shadow of integration, the ego disguising itself as wisdom. True high vibration does not eliminate rage, doubt, envy, or loneliness. It simply means she no longer abandons herself when these states arise. She allows the full spectrum of her humanity without judgment or performance. This is the real work, not rising above the human experience, but inhabiting it so fully that nothing within her remains in exile. Her transformation is largely invisible. There is no applause, no recognition, no audience. The world rewards performance, not embodiment. The woman who heals loudly is celebrated. The woman who heals in silence is rarely seen, and yet she knows. She feels her growth in the simplicity of her inner landscape, in the decreasing need for drama, in the quiet alignment with truth that requires no witnesses. She no longer argues with those who misunderstand her. She no longer tries to be seen through the lens of who she used to be. What remains when everything else falls away is not superiority, but simplicity. A presence at peace with itself, a life no longer at war within. You do not need to become high vibrational. You need only stop abandoning what is already true. Beneath all conditioning and survival roles, there is a frequency that has always been yours. The three signs: chosen solitude, disturbing silence, and the refusal to save or be saved, are not achievements. They are recognitions. If this resonates, it may be because you already know. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are simply living at a frequency not everyone can hear. And that is not a flaw.